Ms. Jayashree Satagopan. She's President Corporate and CFO of the company Johnson right now to talk about what's happening within the bucket and with Coromandel itself. Ms. Satagopan, good having you. Thanks so much for taking the time out. Good morning. This is Neeraj here. How are you assessing what's happening currently within that landscape of agri/fertilizers? Because a lot of talk happening around the bucket, what the government could do as well, alleviate the agrarian stress, if you will. Just give us a broad brush view on how do you see the landscape.
Morning, Neeraj. Thanks for having me in the morning show. The government has been pretty proactive when it comes to agriculture and looking at farmers' welfare over the past few years. And we expect this new government that's recently formed will continue its reforms and pro-farmer, pro-agriculture related measures. What we see is more adoption of nutrients, which is where Coromandel has a role to play, which is more of NPK, and also looking into novel technologies like nanotechnologies. A year and a half back, we had nano urea that was introduced. Coromandel recently has commissioned a nano DAP plant and has also got 2 technology research centers which is focused on nano-related products. So I think organic fertilizers, novel fertilizers, like we've also very recently introduced a urea SSP, and fertilizers with micronutrients which are unique, which addresses the needs of the soil, and obviously nano fertilizers. All of these are going to be helping the farmers and also enrich the soil in terms of looking at the necessary nutrients which will help in productivity.
So, Ms. Satagopan, put this into perspective. I believe the latest nano fertilizer plant has come on stream as well. I mean, is this a big deal in terms of what it does for the business and for the numbers?
No, this is a relatively smaller size plant that we have. It has about 1 crore bottles of nano DAP that can be produced. These are modular plants. So depending on the demand, we can set up multiple plants in different locations. The first plant has been commissioned at Kakinada. And based on all the field trials that have been conducted so far with the help of our agronomist, we find that the product efficacy has been very good. And therefore, in a period of, say, about a year or so, if we want to replicate, set up newer plants, it can be done in a period of 6 to 8 months. So that's the beauty of these nano plants that we have set up.
Ms. Satagopan, very good morning. Tamanna here, and great to speak with you. Just wanted your perspective on, I think, what is a key expectation from the industry. And the GST Council recently discussed it, has referred a rate rationalization for fertilizers to the GST, to the GOM, the Group of Ministers on Agri and Chemicals. How crucial is this? How crucial is this, and how does it impact, say, a company like yours?
See, currently the GST rates for fertilizers, Tamanna, is about output rate is about 5%, which is on the lower end. There are a couple of inputs where we have about 18%, which is like ammonia or a sulfuric acid. And therefore, fertilizer companies who do the manufacture will have an inverted duty structure. Therefore, we all claim for GST refund, and the government and the GST authorities have been very proactive, processing the refund applications and giving us the GST refunds. Now, what we understand that the GST Council is considering is a reduction further in the output rates. So we just need to see what rates have been recommended, whether it is going to come down from a 5% to a 2, 3, or it's going to be nil. And therefore, the implications in terms of refund for the fertilizer companies from an inverted duty structure. That's something we'll have to wait and watch.
So in your particular case, what are the implications? And if the GST rate does come down, it most likely will be coming down to 0. But you still are paying a higher, GST rate for your input. So what are the implications for you?
So we will continue to claim the GST refunds so that there is no credit accumulation that happens in the balance sheet. But at the same time, when you look at it from a farmer perspective, what we would look at is about a 50 to 65 rupees of impact per bag when they are going to buy, for instance, a DAP 50 kg bag.
Okay.
So the farmers will get some benefit. From the corporate standpoint, we will continue to claim the GST refunds, and it comes with a 2 to 3 months lag in terms of refund processing by the GST authorities.
If it's a benefit of 56 to 60 rupee per bag for the farmer, what's the benefit for you if you possibly pay 0% GST?
No, there will not be any special benefits for corporates.
Okay.
As I was mentioning, there is an inverted duty structure.
Okay.
And the credit accumulation has to be claimed back as a refund from the GST authorities. So there is a cash flow implication, which could take about 2 to 3 months. So it's a working capital impact.
Okay. I want to come to another point which I think is important for your company specifically is subsidies for fertilizers. And in the interim budget, as was expected, the subsidy for fertilizers was lower than what was penciled in. Do you expect that to be increased significantly in the July budget? What are you looking out for?
So typically the government announces subsidies a couple of times in a year. One is for the Kharif season, the other one is for the Rabi season. The subsidies for the Kharif season has already been announced and is being practiced the last 3 months, April, May, June. And we expect the next revision to happen in October, which could be for the next 6 months of the year. At this point in time, we're not very sure that there is going to be an increase in the subsidy rates when the July budget is being taken up by the government.
Yeah, I mean, we can't preempt it, but it is widely expected that there may be an increase in the subsidy rates. If there is, I'm trying to understand what is the impact for you on margins?
No, if the subsidy rates goes up, it's not just for Coromandel. I think it will augur very well for the fertilizer companies overall, especially in the case of DAP. The subsidy rates have been very subdued. So that will be a good relief for the company.
Ms. Satagopan, anything else that you would want to see, not necessarily as a part of the budget or otherwise, but as a move being done to fix, let's say, an anomaly to your mind within the pocket?
One thing which definitely we have been advocating and working closely with the government as well as through our influencing the farmers is to have balanced nutrition, because various parts of the country we see there is deficiency in terms of certain nutrients. Today urea is very heavily subsidized and therefore farmers tend to buy urea and use it more than required for their fields. So a bit of balanced nutrition uptake will actually help improve the soil richness as well as the productivity for the farmers. This is something that we would be very keen and eager to see if the government could take this up, because it will definitely help to improve the overall productivity from an agricultural standpoint.
Got it. Ms. Satagopan, just now moving on from there to how is business, because when one looks at your Q4 as well for CPC, because of, I mean, there was a revenue decline, there was an EBIT decline, global pricing pressures, I believe, were there at that point of time? Have they existed, and therefore is the near term looking a bit skittish, or has there been a change out there?
The CPC business had multiple external headwinds. It's not just for our company, it has been across various companies in the country because of the situation that was faced in Brazil, very high level of inventory, and then there was a price which had come down dramatically because of China. These two situations seem to be coming slowly in control. As we understand, the stock in Brazil in the channel has come down. The China prices are still lower, but we expect it to stabilize at some point in time. And towards Q3 of this calendar year and Q4 of this calendar year, we expect much more normalcy to come in the crop protection business. Having said that, even last year, our CPC business grew in absolute volume terms. We clocked more than a 20% increase in volume terms, and we also grew in markets like Brazil, where most of the other companies had faced huge challenges. Our focus also has been on domestic formulation business, where we have a very large opportunity to grow. So these two areas are going to be very critical. And you would have also recently seen that the company has launched 10 new products in the crop protection side, out of which 4 of them are 9(3) products. One has a collaboration with a Japanese innovator, and we are also strengthening our portfolio on the herbicide front. Therefore, domestic formulation business, we believe, will clock a good growth, and also looking into niche markets in the export segment, where we have presence in more than 60 countries. We believe that crop protection business should grow well during the year.
All right, Ms. Satagopan, we'll leave it at that. Thanks so much for taking the time out and being with us, and all the best for the quarter ahead.
Thank you.